What country is the same size as Denmark but has a greater variety of climate than all of Europe? If you think it's in the tropics, you're right. It's Costa Rica. Join me and a local Costa Rican as we uncover the shocking truth about this climate mystery. What a life! I've spent the past year and a half driving my motorcycle through Latin America, living in each country for a minimum of 6 weeks. This has been one of the most difficult projects I've ever embarked upon, and I really hope you enjoy all this content coming at you now. I'm very happy to be accompanied here by a new friend, and we are in a new part of the world, as you can see behind us. Now let's go ahead and find out where exactly are we today.
We are in Costa Rica. This town is San Isidro de Heredia.
People want to know, are you from here? Are you from Canada or Austria? Where are you from?
Yes, I am from here. I'm Costa Rican. My name is Caleb, and I have been living here all my life.
Okay, but you also don't permanently live here, right? Because from what I understand, you live in a different part of Costa Rica as well.
Yes, now I have a project. I also have a house in Cahuita. We are transforming it in a new hostel. So I live here in the mountains and also at the beach in the Caribbean side.
What a life, huh? What a life. You live both in the temperate mountains where we are now, very beautiful, amazing climate, and you're also on the beach. It's pretty hot on the beach, right?
Yes, in the Caribbean side is like wet tropical because we have 4 different zones.
All right, well, let's talk a bit more about the weather. As you just mentioned, there are 4 main types of climates that people should know when they're deciding where to visit or where to live in Costa Rica.
Here in San Jose, around the mountains, we call clima de montaña. It's like mountain climate. We also have tropical wet in the Caribbean side. We have tropical dry, that is Guanacaste and Pacific side. And we also have clima de sabana. It's like the valley's weather.
Let's start here with the mountain climate. So this area, the San Jose Metro, this is called the mountain climate, you said?
Yes, we are around 1,400 meters from the level of the ocean. It's pretty windy because mountains are around this valley. Sometimes it's very cold at night, but around 16 or 17 degrees.
That's Celsius, right?
That's Celsius, yes. And sometimes it's around 26, 25 in the summer.
So for example, right now, we have a pretty nice climate. It's not too sunny, it's a little cloudy, but it's the daytime, it's like middle of the day. So what is the temperature around now?
And now it's around 24, 25. For me, it's pretty hot because you can have the same temperature, but in the Caribbean side. But over there is more like wet, more humid, so it feels more like comfortable over there because here is drier. Can I say drier? So here is kind of more. You can feel more hot in here.
Okay, so for people that are looking for a cooler place or a temperate place, this area of Costa Rica is probably the best option. It has the highest elevation for a large city with services that people might be looking for if you're planning to live here long term. Let's talk about the coastal side. You said you live in the Caribbean side?
Yes, the Caribbean side is more humid because we have like the ocean is like very flat also. There are also some mountains around, but the weather over there is very humid. Sometimes it's not hot, but the humidity makes you feel like warm. And that is the Caribbean side, that is the tropical wet.
What is the temperature of a normal day there?
Every day is around 26, 28. Sometimes it's 32 Celsius degrees.
That's in the daytime?
Yes. And during the night, sometimes it's 26, 28 also. But it's more like windy because of the breeze of the ocean. Yeah.
So it doesn't really go down to the cooler, nicer 16, 15 Celsius. It's about 22 or 25. What is it at night?
Yes, that's correct. Sometimes it's around 20, 22 during the night.
But less than 22, it's not really going to be that, is it?
It is not very common. Just when we have like a storms or something like that, but that is not very common.
So basically for people that don't want to be always surrounded by warm weather, if you're on the coastal side, you're going to need air conditioners because 20 is going to be the absolute minimum. Let's talk about the Pacific side, because you said that's a different climate also. That's the dry western Pacific side, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The Pacific side is more dry and it's hotter for me. Sometimes it's very hot because the 32 degrees that you can feel in the Caribbean over there, it feels like 44 or something like that because it's not the same humidity and it's like there is no mountains around, so you can feel the breeze, but a hot breeze, so it's not refreshing. It's kind of sometimes it's kind of uncomfortable to be outside.
So it's quite a bit hotter version. You'd say that the Caribbean side is a bit cooler and it's a bit hotter on the Pacific side?
Yeah, that's correct. I prefer to go to the Caribbean side all the time because Pacific is so hot for me sometimes.
What are the temperatures for the Pacific side now that you mentioned it being hot?
Sometimes it could be around 35 or something like that. That is a Celsius degrees, and specifically like in January, February when the summer is starting.
Okay, so right around now, basically, because this is the 30th of December, right? We're just about starting January, and I'm actually going to be going there in about 1 week. My family is coming down, and we're going to be exploring that area, which is the western dry part, you said, right? And then there's another different climate you mentioned as well, right?
La Fortuna and Monteverde, those are like mountain weather. They have like rain forest over there, and it's colder and it rains more, and also it's windy, and sometimes it's very foggy. So it's pretty interesting because it's higher. So it's like I don't know, like 2,000 meters from the level of the ocean, and it's colder also. So if you want to, and it's pretty close to the Pacific side. So if you're tired of being on the coast, you can go a little bit higher, and you can have a nicer temperature over there.
Yeah, excellent. That's actually what me and my family have planned for our trip. We're going to be starting on the western dry side, going up to La Fortuna, the colder, wetter side, and then finishing up on Monteverde. So we're going to have kind of like a nice drastic change from one to the other. What is your favorite climate here in Costa Rica?
Well, to be honest, I prefer the Caribbean side because it's hot, but it's also humid, so it feels warm all the time.
So let's talk a little bit more about the Caribbean side, Cahuita, and your project. You said you're building a hostel. Can you tell us about your hostel a little bit?
Yes, it's a very old house. It's like from the 50s or something like that. It's just in front of the water, so it is wooden. So we need to change a lot of pieces of wood because they are very bad conditions. We already have 3 cabins and we are already renting them, but we are fixing the big house because needs a new roof, a new ceiling. So every day I also work for IBM, so when I have time I work during the day in the house, and sometimes I have to be in the computer, but we are also having people volunteering, so that's pretty nice because we share with a lot of people around the world. They just come and help us, and the idea is to have a very nice and cute hostel just in front of the beach, and with a affordable price also.
What is the name of your hostel?
Casa Mamre. Casa Mamre.
Okay, is that from a specific language? That's not Spanish, right?
Yeah, that's Spanish, but it's a place in Africa. Mamre is a place in Africa. Yes.
Okay, interesting. Are you still looking for volunteers, or how is that going now?
Yes. I have like a couchsurfing profile, and I receive a lot of people from couchsurfing. So sometimes they stay for 2 or 3 days, and they just send me a request, and I tell them yes. Can you help us some hours during the day? So they keep just coming and help during the day. They also go to the national park because this hostel is just 4 meters from the entrance of the national park. So it's pretty.
Which national park is that?
That is the Cahuita National Park, and you just have to pay like a volunteer amount of money to enter. So it's pretty cheap to go over there, and you can see a lot of animals.
I'm wondering how this is going to be when they basically don't get any money from you in the end. Cahuita National Park has donation-only entrance. I found this particularly interesting and amazing considering that my family and I ended up paying $20 to $25 per person to go to the many national parks in Costa Rica, and that is the main attraction in the country. Another massive benefit is you can see the sloths in their natural environment and not have to pay what we paid in La Fortuna, $45 per person to see them. That sounds great. Do you have a website or a specific place online for people to find your project and your accommodation?
Well, we now just have the Instagram profile, a booking webpage.
Finding the proper place in the tropics, which depends on where the mountains are. If you're in the mountains, up in elevation or down in elevation, that's really going to affect people that are very sensitive to heat or to coldness. Now, another very big issue for a future expat or people looking for a new house or place to live in would be the safety.